When you already have issues involving your health, like with her ankles and stuff like that, and then you put on top of that alcohol abuse, it doesn't add any progress to the situation. It only makes things worse, Kevin added. When asked about how tied alcohol is to Wendy's apparent cognitive decline, Kevin said, I think it's one of the aspects of having alcohol excessively, even when you take a normal person and you give them excessive amounts of alcohol. Even when you're not on it, it does impede you even after you've become clear-headed. When you talk about what alcohol does, it slowly eats away at your brain, Wendy's son added. The federally run National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism released a statement to the U.S. Sun about the impacts of alcohol-related brain damage. The NIAAA said, research links heavy alcohol use and moderate to severe alcohol use disorder with damage to both white and gray matter in the brain, as well as deficits in cognitive functions. Heavy alcohol use over time damages the brain through a combination of direct neurotoxic effects, nutritional deficiencies, neuroinflammation, liver disease, and metabolic abnormalities, all exacerbated by aging. Alcohol neurotoxicity reduces synaptic complexity, alters communication between nerve cells, and decreases brain volume, particularly in frontal regions. Brain damage due to alcohol can manifest in problems with attention, memory, and reasoning. Abstinence may partially reverse these changes, the statement concluded. Wendy's dwindling memory is highlighted in the new Lifetime series, as is the conservatorship that Wendy has been in since 2022. During one scene, her driver says, I think she's losing memory. She doesn't know who I am sometimes, according to People. Scary RELAPSity. The first insider said that after Wendy's rehab stay in Florida in 2019, the star relapsed on the plane back to New York. She flew private there, and the plane was dry. But on the way back, she flew with an assistant at the time, and there was booze on the plane. The assistant claimed they fell asleep on the flight, and Wendy drank so much that she had alcohol poisoning and had to go to the hospital that night. Once back in New York, Wendy was checked into a sober living facility in Queens. Multiple sources previously confirmed to the U.S. Sun that the daytime presenter had continued to drink heavily since her time at a Queens sober house, and following the split from her husband Kevin around the same time, up until her latest rehab stay, which appears to have begun 10 months ago according to People. Wendy's drinking would again bring her near death in May 2020 during the COVID lockdowns. Another hospitalization. As the U.S. Sun had previously exclusively reported, Wendy had a health episode at her home during her Wendy at Home tapings, during which she was rushed to the hospital and needed several blood transfusions. Wendy remained hospitalized for weeks following the dire incident, leaving Debmar Mercury, the production company behind the show, without their star to fill the time slot. The production company at the time blamed her Graves' disease for her sudden absence from the taped at-home show. Wendy would not return to the screen again until the fall of that year when they brought her back to studios, but without a studio audience due to COVID restrictions. An insider close to the Lifetime production said that the frightening incident is expected to be discussed in the docuseries. Wendy's final season absence. Wendy lost her wildly popular daytime TV show after being absent for the entirety of what ended up being the last season of The Wendy Williams Show. At the start of what would be her final season in September 2021, the U.S. Sun exclusively reported that Wendy was transported to a New York City hospital for a psychiatric incident. During her absence in that final season, Wendy spent some time with her son, Kevin, in Florida. Her young son took her to doctor's appointments and appeared to be watching over her while she recovered. However, it wasn't before long that Wendy returned to New York and things again began to decline. Once back in New York, she showed increasingly disturbing behavior. From bizarre interviews where she would show her bare feet, to claiming she got married when it appeared that she hadn't, and passing out drunk in the window of Louis Vuitton, Wendy's health and well-being seemed to be in rapid decline. Wendy's recent near-death experience. Wendy's health issues came to a head in May 2023. That was when, as the U.S. Sun first exclusively reported at the time, Wendy was hospitalized to just 2 weeks before she was supposed to appear at the Atlanta Women's Expo. Wendy first went into the hospital about 2 weeks ago. She was released briefly last weekend, and she went right back in, an insider close to the ailing star said.